Our 10th anniversary. I'd booked the same room we'd celebrated our engagement in, a private dining suite overlooking the river, flickering candlelight, the works. I wore the charcoal suit she once called dangerously handsome. The one that used to make her eyes light up like I was still worth dressing up for. She didn't know I'd seen the messages. Not all of them. Just enough. Just enough to know this dinner would be the last time we played house. I got there early. The Mactor D led me in with a warm smile, gestured to the reserved space, and when I stepped inside, I stopped cold. There were 3 place settings, 3 white plates, silver cutlery, crystal glasses, folded napkins. One too many. I checked my watch. She was 5 minutes late. I sat down, kept my face steady, heart thudding in my throat. This wasn't a surprise. I'd already read the one message that mattered. He's clueless. I'll make it look like an accident. You just show up casual, like we bumped into each other. She meant him. The ex. The one she swore she'd blocked. I didn't pace. I didn't call her. I just waited. 10 minutes later, she arrived. Wavy hair down, a shimmering gold dress I hadn't seen before, too expensive for her usual style, cut too close to her curves. She walked in like she owned the night, smiled like I was just one of the guests. Her eyes flicked to the empty seat, then to me. "Happy anniversary," she said, coming close to kiss my cheek. I led her. I didn't speak. That was part of the plan. "Wow, you really went all out," she added, settling across from me. I nodded once. She pulled out her phone, tapped something quickly, then set its screen down beside the bread plate. 5 minutes later, the door opened again. He walked in wearing casual arrogance and an open-collared shirt. His confidence deflated slightly when he saw me already sitting there, but she made it easy for him. She stood up and gave him a hug like old friends reunited at a coffee shop. I stayed seated, didn't blink. "This is so unexpected," she said, voice bright and fake. "Look who just happened to be nearby." I didn't answer, just poured myself some wine. Her smile faltered. He sat. She laughed too loudly. "It's been years, hasn't it?" She brushed his arm with her hand. "We were just kids." He chuckled, but his eyes kept darting toward me. I raised my glass halfway, then set it down again without drinking. The waiter appeared. She ordered her favorite pasta. He ordered steak. I asked for water. I listened to their small talk. His new job, her accidental bump in at a bookstore. It was a performance. Every word, a deliberate act. She kept glancing at me, like waiting for a reaction, a twitch, a slammed glass. Anything. I gave her nothing. When dessert menus arrived, she finally leaned toward me. "You're being awfully quiet," she said. I met her eyes, calm, steady, just taking it all in. I said, "You did say tonight should be unforgettable." She laughed again, but it cracked at the edges. I checked my watch. "Expecting someone?" she asked lightly. I smiled. "I already know everything," I said quietly. "So let's not pretend." Her expression froze. He looked confused, then worried, but I didn't explain. I just waited. This wasn't the end. Not yet. She blinked at me. Once, twice, as if her brain hadn't fully processed the words. "What do you mean, everything?" she said, her tone too light to rehearse. The man across from us, her ex, shifted in his chair. I could see it. That flicker of nervousness that crept into the corners of his confidence. He knew something was off. He just didn't know how much. I looked at him for the first time that night. Really looked. I could see why she had once been drawn to him. He had that charm that fools people into thinking it's depth. A lopsided grin, easy words. But now, under pressure, he looked more like a boy in a suit that didn't quite fit. She reached for her wine and sipped too quickly, lips tight. "We're just catching up," she said with a shrug. "It's not that serious." I folded my hands together on the table, looked her dead in the eyes. "I know all about your catching up." Her fingers froze on the stem of her glass. The color drained from her face. He let out a small, nervous laugh. "Look, man, if this is..." I turned to him. "Melissa says hi." His face cracked. Just like that. He looked like someone had sucker punched him into the table. Her fork clattered onto her plate. "You told him?" she snapped, voice too sharp to be casual. I leaned back. "Oh, he didn't tell me," I said. "Melissa did." She went still, entirely still, then turned toward him, eyes wide with disbelief. He opened his mouth, but no words came. You told me she'd never find out. She hissed at him. She didn't. I didn't. He stammered, palms up, trying to defend a crumbling lie. I watched them fumble, watch their little alliance crack. You don't get it, I said quietly, cutting through their whispers. This wasn't a reaction. It was a setup. You brought your surprise guest, and I brought mine. And right on cue, there was a knock at the door. She startled. I didn't flinch. The waiter peeked in, then stepped aside as Melissa entered. She was 8 months pregnant, calm, elegant, wearing a dark navy dress that clung to her swollen belly. She carried a manila folder in one hand, her wedding ring still on the other. The air left the room. Her husband, the catch up, stood halfway, like a man realizing the ceiling is about to cave in. Melissa, wait, I didn't mean for this too. She walked past him like he was furniture, stood beside me, nodded once. Thank you, Elliot, she said. Her voice was even, but her eyes were tired. I wasn't sure I'd make it in time. I pulled out the third chair for her. She sat down and placed the folder on the table, sliding it toward her husband and my wife with the same care one might use setting down a loaded gun. Go ahead, she said. Open it. Neither moved. So she did it for them. She opened the flap and spread out the screenshots like a dealer laying down cards. Messages. Hotel reservations. One that said he's clueless with a laughing emoji. My wife reached out to snatch them, but Melissa's hand slapped over hers like a trap. Don't, she said, calm but cold. You've said enough already. He stood. This is insane. I didn't know you didn't know I'd what? Melissa cut in. Grow a spine? He sat back down. My wife looked down, eyes darting over the evidence of her own lies, now staring back at her in 12-point font. I said nothing. Melissa glanced at me again, this time with something more like gratitude. I nodded slightly, let her take it from here. Let them drown in their own words. The room was dead quiet. The kind of quiet that feels like it has weighed thick, suffocating, echoing off every lie. My wife stared at the screenshots Melissa had laid out like they were crime scene photos. Her lips moved slightly, but no words came, just shallow breath, the kind that precedes a collapse. Across from her, the man she thought she was impressing looked like he was trying to make himself smaller. His hand hovered near the pile of messages, then dropped to his lap like he didn't dare touch the damage he'd helped create. Melissa didn't blink. She turned to him, her voice steady. You told me she didn't know, that you'd ended it, that I was crazy. He stammered. I didn't mean Melissa. You were pregnant and stressed and… Her expression didn't change. I was pregnant and faithful? That landed like a slap. Then she looked at my wife. And you, she said softly. Did you know he was married? My wife hesitated, swallowed. Yes, she whispered. Melissa gave a slow nod, like that was all she needed. Then we're done here. She stood, took off her wedding ring, and placed it on the table. Not dramatically, just final, like setting down a paperweight that had gotten too heavy. She turned to me. Thank you, Elliot, for letting me walk in with my dignity. I stood too, and gently pulled back her chair. The other woman, the one who wore my wife's face, watched helplessly as Melissa walked out of the room, dignified, whole, done. Her ex ran after her, muttering please, stumbling over the fallen grace of what he used to be. The door thudded behind him. And then we were alone. Just me and her. 10 years of marriage, 10 years of laughter, vacations, fights, holidays, shared toothpaste, shared silence, all boiled down to this. A candlelit table set for betrayal. She tried to speak. Her voice cracked. Why would you bring her here? I stared at her, for the first time in months. Really stared. You wanted a different man at our anniversary dinner, I said calmly. I just invited the right woman to witness it. Tears welled in her eyes. You planned this? I gave a single nod. You let me humiliate myself. No, I interrupted. You did that on your own. She looked away, like the shadows in the corners of the room might offer comfort. I didn't mean for it to go that far, she whispered. I didn't answer. She reached across the table, fingers trembling. Elliot, please, just talk to me. I looked at her hand, the same one that had once slipped into mine at a concert, the one I kissed when she showed me our first apartment lease. Now it just looked like a stranger's. I have nothing left to say, I said, standing up. Where are you going? I picked up my coat. Home, I said, pausing. And before you ask, no. It's not your home anymore. She flinched. Then. Just as I reached the door, I turned back to deliver the last sentence I had rehearsed 100 times. Next time you want a different man at our anniversary dinner, invite him to your new address. And then I walked out. Didn't look back. Didn't need to. The only sound behind me was the soft hiss of a candle burning itself down to nothing.